And if you guys can just give me a little bit of grace and a little bit of room to be imperfect. Hi, you guys. Bear with me. I do not have a template or like a solid plan for this video. I just wanted to sit down and chat with you guys. I need to talk about everything that's been going on and what you can expect from me, where my channel is headed. And I just want to sit down with my cup of coffee and chat like we're friends, just having a phone call. Okay, this is going to be really chill. Where have I been? If you've been following me for a while, you know that the last 2 years have been pretty hellish for me. I've been going through a lot. As fate would have it, I started my YouTube channel and I was plodding along, super excited, doing well. And then my brother passed away unexpectedly, like 4 months into me starting my channel. And then 6 months later, my mom got diagnosed with cancer. And in the same week as her cancer diagnosis, my dad got diagnosed with ALS. And then my dad got very sick and passed away like 5 months after that. So within a year, I lost my brother and my dad. My mom was very ill, fighting cancer. And it's just been really hard. I just passed the 1 year mark of my dad passing, which is also the 2 year mark of my brother passing, because they passed away like on the same day, 1 year apart. On top of that is I've just had regular life stuff, you know. I'm a single mom, I have 5 kids, I work full time. There's been a lot of just other life stressors happening, things with my kids, a lot of things that take my attention. And to be honest, I've been in survival mode for the last like 2+ years, ever since my brother passed away. So I love this channel. I love reading, and books have been a lifeline for me. I honestly don't think I could have gone through the last couple of years without books. They are my escape. They're my therapy. They are the place that I go to feel seen. My book community is the place where I feel safe, where I feel like I belong. I didn't want to let go of my channel for that reason. However, as the stress is compounded, it has been increasingly difficult for me to keep up with my channel. I have continued to read because, like I said, that is my lifeline, but it takes a lot of effort and coordination to plan videos, to film them, to edit them, to publish them, to follow up with all of that. Algorithms are crazy, and it's just a lot of jumping through hoops a lot of the time. It was worth it to me in the beginning because I wanted to find my people in the book community. But as time went on, I just couldn't keep up with it because I was spread so thin that by the end of the day, after just doing the necessities of working, taking care of myself, taking care of my kids, taking care of my mom, my dad, like my family, I have very little energy left to produce anymore. I tried really, really hard because I so appreciate all of you that are here and who have supported me, because I love you guys and you guys are my community, but it's sometimes felt very daunting for me to try to keep up with. So on top of all of that, as you may know, if you've seen any of my more recent videos, I ended up getting COVID in September, at the beginning of September. I wasn't that sick with COVID. It was like having a cold or the flu, but just a mild, it wasn't like terrible. I was just sick, you know, for like 10 days. But then I developed post-COVID syndrome, which was way worse than the initial infection. I had kind of like almost an allergic reaction to the virus. And this is what happens in post-COVID syndrome. It's like an allergic reaction. Your body like is overreacting to the illness and to the virus. And my body, I have a condition where my body does that anyway, but then COVID made it 1,000 times worse. Just to give you guys an idea. Histamine levels in our body, you know, that's like the way our body is responding to allergens. So if your histamine is high, then you're having like a high allergic reaction, okay? When they drew my blood, a normal histamine level is like between 3 and 8, and my levels were 138. So like 18 to 19 times the highest normal for a histamine level. So my body has been in a crazy inflammatory state for 3 months. And that has led to like being chronically itchy all over my body. That has led to my asthma acting up. And the worst of all the symptoms has been that I developed gastroparesis, which is when your stomach doesn't empty the way that it's supposed to. It just like stops working. So it's like not passing the food along. And that causes really severe nausea and vomiting. So for the last like 2.5 months, I've been dealing with daily nausea and up until about 2 weeks ago, I was also vomiting like every day. And it's been very miserable. The only reason I probably don't look like a skeleton, because I was not able to keep things down. I have not been able to keep things down. It was really, really rough. But to try to get my histamine reaction, my allergy reaction under control, I had to go on several rounds of steroids. And steroids like puff you up, like it's made my face and my body like puffy and retain fluid. And so even though I, in theory, should be losing weight and have lost like muscle mass and have been unable to like stay nourished, I've kind of almost feel like I've gained weight and just like puffed out because of the steroids. If you've ever seen someone like on a steroid treatment, a lot of times cancer patients have to go through them, you know, you'll see them like get really puffy and like edematous. And then after they finish the treatment, you know, it'll go away. That's what I'm dealing with right now. It's pretty miserable in and of itself, but I need to be able to eat and not feel sick all the time. So it did its job. I am slowly recovering. I am still having episodes, but it's not daily. And I think that my body is headed in the right direction. So all of that to say, again, the last 2 years have been pretty hellish, like pretty horrid. And sadly, that just happened to coincide with most of the existence of my booktube channel. The other thing I wanted to talk about is that one of the reasons I was inspired to create my channel is that I couldn't find a whole lot of people on YouTube that express their feelings or their thoughts about books the way that I wanted to connect to as a reader. And so since I couldn't find someone like me, I wanted to be that person for other people. I wanted to get on here. I wanted to talk about the books I'm reading. I wanted to talk about books that not everybody else is reading. I didn't want to get sucked into the whole book talk thing, but it's very difficult when your channel and the ability to connect with others is strongly tied to an algorithm and what the rest of the booktube community is doing. However, I've always been real with you guys. I've never not been me on this channel, but it feels like a little bit of a facade to try to keep up with. And I'm going to be real with you guys. Like, I just don't have the energy. I don't have the energy. I don't even have the desire. I don't want to keep up with that. What I do have a desire to do is to continue to read, to continue to connect with literature, with authors, with other readers who are maybe in my stage of life or who like the same books, have the same kind of thoughts, want to have intellectual discussions, want to share what they're reading. And it's not like I read intellectual books all the time. I read a lot of fantasy, but there's so much to dig into just in fantasy books. There's so much there's so many points made in fantasy books that people don't always talk about. There's a lot of parallels we can draw to the real world, to historical events, to, things that we can see coming that could be problematic, like they could be a warning that an author is giving us. And I don't think we talk about that enough on Book Talk. That is why I also started my book club with Kara over at Kara's Bookshelf, because we wanted to talk about the deep, hard-hitting books, talk about the real stuff. And unfortunately, we also started that right as she hit a very difficult time in her life with grief, and as I became sick. And basically, I didn't really get to process my grief for the first year because everything just hit one after another. I was in survival mode. And so this last year is when my grief really started to set in, and I've been dealing with a lot of depression. So yeah, I just really haven't been in a good place for a year now. And I'm finally starting to feel better physically, mentally, emotionally, but I'm so far behind in all of those aspects of my life because of depression. If you've dealt with depression, you know how it can kind of wreak havoc on your world. And that is what has happened to me. So I'm playing catch up. I guess what I'm saying is that I don't plan on going anywhere. I'm planning on keeping this channel. But in the same way that I'm a mood reader, I want to be a mood vlogger, a mood booktuber. I don't want to get sucked into what everybody else is doing. I don't want to feel like I have to read what everyone else is reading. I want it to be genuine, and I want my reflections to be real and meaningful. And I know a lot of people come to BookTube to escape. I mean, I love BookTube for that same reason. And I know a lot of people read for that reason. And I'm not saying that I won't be over here reading for fun or just, doing it to escape at times. But I think what I want my channel to be is the place where we can connect over the meaningful themes. And that means that it's not always Sometimes it's a little serious. Sometimes it is emotional. Sometimes it is hard. Sometimes it's controversial. And that's just the way it's going to be. But I'm one of those people who just doesn't like to be trapped. And I don't like to be confined by rules, including booktube. I don't want to be confined by the booktube rules. So what would happen is I'm already feeling overwhelmed by life. And then I'd want to create a video and connect with you guys. But then I would get all in my head about what it needed to look like, what it needed to be. And it all just became so overwhelming that I just wouldn't be able to actually complete the task. I actually have months worth of filming that I've done for you guys, but I haven't edited it down to videos that I could publish for you all because it's all just felt so overwhelming to me. On top of all of this, I'm neurodivergent, so the way my brain works is a little different, and then you add like the grief and depression to the mix. Executing tasks like finishing videos, because there are a lot of steps to it, puts my brain in overload when I'm already spread thin and feeling stressed out and feeling depressed or sick or any of the above. So I'm here to tell you, I will not be doing the normal booktube videos, but I plan to be here. I plan to make videos. I want to connect with you guys. I want to share what I'm reading. I want to talk to you about the books that I'm loving. I want to recommend books that you haven't heard of before. I want to, recommend books to you that make you feel seen, that help you process what's going on in your life. I want to make personal connections because the world can be a lonely place, and especially right now. And there's a lot of division, and it's very hard to feel like you belong somewhere and to feel safe somewhere. And I want my booktube channel to be a safe place for everyone, but I'm also not going to stay on the surface level. I want to talk about the things that matter. I want to talk about the controversial things. I want to share my thoughts and feelings. And I think that we can do that as long as we remain, even if we have different opinions on books, I think that we can still connect and have a meaningful experience as long as we are kind and respectful towards one another. So above all else, I do want my channel to be a safe, kind, respectful place. My kitty is bringing me, she wants to play fetch. She's like a dog. Here, Manon. So I may not be the booktuber for you. If you are just looking for like kind of fluffy, enjoyable content, I will probably still be creating vlogs that may or may not be comfort vlogs. They may be triggering. I don't know. I honestly don't know, you guys. I just want to be real with you. I want to create friendships and connections that are real. And I want to talk about the things that nobody else is talking about in literature. So that's where I stand. Because of that, I am not going to try to do bookmas. That is just way too much for me to take on at this point in my life right now. I will, however, be hopping on here, maybe doing some more of these like casual vlog style videos for you. And I want to just feel like whenever I'm in the mood, I can come on here and I can be real with you and I can talk about books like we're besties, and it doesn't have to be so put together. You know what I'm saying? On that note, right now, my obsession in the book world is Quicksilver. Hey, no, she thinks my mic cover is a dead animal. What is it? Do you want to come say hi? This is Manon. She's my sassy girl. She's Queen. I have two cats, Abraxos and Manon, and they are a little over 1 year old now. If you've been around, you probably met them when they were brand new little kittens. But they are so big now. She's very regal. She's a good little huntress, and she kind of mans the fort, or womans the fort, females the fort. This is not a toy. It's not a toy. Yeah. Thank you. Anyhow, I'm obsessed right now with Quicksilver and Brimstone. I read Quicksilver. I actually started Quicksilver the day that my dad passed away. Before I didn't know he was going to pass away that day. So I'd started the book. I was hooked in though when I found out that he had passed. And so I finished that book in the wake of, kind of a life event that was really preoccupying my energy. But I loved it. I enjoyed it so much. I had rated it, no, this is not a toy. No, I had rated it 4.5. So loved it. I was so excited for Brimstone to come out. I was unprepared, you guys. I read Brimstone and I was like, no, first of all, I decided to reread Quicksilver because I often reread books before their sequel comes out anyway, but also because I knew that my brain and my energy had been so preoccupied by my dad's passing. I thought I better reread it just so that I can be on top of all of the details before I go into Brimstone. And it was like reading it for the first time. I mean, I remembered it, but there were so many things in there that I didn't remember or that I didn't pick up on the first time. I ate up the book. I loved it. I ended up bumping it up to a 5-star book. Then I picked up Brimstone, also ate that up, but I finished Brimstone and I was like, hold on, wait a second. Now I feel like I need to read Quicksilver again. Like, I am missing things. So you guys, in the last 2 weeks, I have read Quicksilver twice and Brimstone twice. And then I read Quicksilver a year ago when it came out. So I've now read Quicksilver 3 times. I've read Brimstone twice, 5 stars for both. I am loving this series. It's a series that the more you read it, and the more you pay attention, the deeper it is, and the more that you realize that there's like a big web being weaved that you may not catch on to first time that you read it. I think that this series has the potential to become like a top tier, one of my favorites of all time. Book number 2. Okay, in the first book, there's a lot of tension, a lot of angst, like a lot of that romantic yearning, and it's all well and good. I mean, I love that in a book. It was great in the first book. In the second book, it is more fantasy forward. We're focusing a little bit less on the romance, a lot more on the world building, the political setting, the magic system. I love a fantasy forward book. I am a fantasy romance girly, meaning that I like books that are primarily fantasy books, and then the romance comes secondary, like Throne of Glass. And that's what this book is. So I'm super excited about it. I have pretty much been in a reading slump in that I can't read anything except those 2 books. I just finished Brimstone last night for the second time. I think I finally feel satisfied. I think I'm ready to move on and pick up some other books. Typically around this time of year, I like to read the Hallmarky, rom-com-y, Christmassy, light, fluffy like books. There are a lot out there and I have downloaded a lot of them to read, but I haven't found myself in the mood to do it. I've been in a much more like reflective and deep mood. I don't know how many of those I'm going to get through or if I'm going to get to that all. But like I said, I am not going to be confined by any like made up rules. I'm a mood reader. I'm going to read what I want and I'm going to vlog what I want. And I hope you guys are here for it. So that's it for today. But I hope that this is a fresh start. I hope this is a fresh start for me, for my channel, for all of you. And I hope you'll stick around because I love having you guys here. And up until this point, everyone has been so supportive and I've loved connecting with you all on my channel. And if you guys can just give me a little bit of grace and a little bit of room to be imperfect and just to be real and raw on here, then I think that I can provide a lot more content for you all. And hopefully as I start to feel, better and I'm getting out of this grief that I've been in, this depression, black hole, and as I'm physically getting over this post-COVID syndrome and things, it's going to be crazy until the holidays because it just always is. But then I hope that I can get into a rhythm and I have a lot of things I want to share with you all. So thank you so much for listening to my rant. Thank you for being here. Thank you so much for your support, not just today, but all throughout the last couple of years. And I hope you guys are having a really enjoyable Christmas season. I love the Christmas season and I'm excited to kind of just indulge in it this year as I'm starting to feel better. So that's all for now. If you are still here and you want to let me know, leave a fire emoji in the comments for Brimstone. And if you've read it and you want to share your thoughts, I'd love to hear it in the comments. Just be careful not to spoil anything for anyone. And I'll talk to you guys very soon. Love you so much. Bye.